Next, I would like to invite Francis Deprez on stage. He is the senior scientific advisor at FLAIO in Flanders, but he will present the funding possibilities for all the 3 regions in Belgium. The floor is yours.
Good morning. This is yeah. Okay, thank you. I heard plenty of my colleagues, and I could say it's almost equal for us. Many remarks. I'm here for Belgium, but there's no Belgium when there's innovation subsidizing. There's only Flanders, Brussels, and Wallonia. Can't help it, I mean. The good news is we have an open innovation agenda. All of us have an open agenda, which is saying, well, you can just add any kind of projects, and we start and then try to fund it out of our open innovation funding schemes. Yeah, well, I still mentioned we have, when it comes to the CHIPS joint undertaking, we have 4 sources of money. When it's for Eureka cluster, we have 3 sources of money. And many people know me, the man with deep pockets. The Flanders pockets have ever been deep for whatever could be justified. I can tell almost the same from Brussels. I hardly seen anything being rejected for Brussels because they didn't have any budget. And we are in the testing phase of Wallonia. They only entered the arena since last year. But it's looking fine for the first Xecs, so this is good news. So as I said, there's no priority. Each of the regions adapts as good as possible to the European program. Yeah? And there are still some differences in the technicalities of the funding, which you have to discuss with each of the regions separately. But it's more or less details of funding, well, minorities. Okay. This is the one for Flanders. I have an equal one for Wallonia, which has not been already endorsed. I have a same one for Brussels. The only small difference is that in Flanders we have a cut at 60% for development and 70% for research funding, which is, well, less than what the GBER would allow us. Good news was, since July this year, Flanders increased its funding for international collaboration by 5%. So we are topping to the maximum of what GBER allows us. Yeah, as I said, same things. Oh yeah, there's a small kind of difference, both in Brussels and in Wallonia. In a Xecs, it might be possible for a university or an RTU to join as an own participant, but as in the Netherlands and other countries, you have to have the lead from an industrial. In Flanders, an RTO can only have a contribution as a legal subcontractor research partner. That's a difference. Well, the difference can be painful for SMEs because the non-subsidized part of the costs of the RTO have to be funded by the industrial party. That's not always the case in Brussels. That's not always the case in Wallonia. For each of us, we treat it as a national funding application. Yes, that's the way it's treated for all of us. But in all of the cases, we have the enhanced international funding, the extra 15%. And in timeline, we say, well, there's the PO. Please come and see us, talk to us. There's the full proposal. Please see us, come to us. Because when it's labeled, or even before that, start your formal application. That's how it goes. Formal application, well, it's not a first-time right. You do a formal application, and we have a discussion in which we will use to help you and tune to what is possible. The only thing is you will only be given 12 working days to adjust your application. But that's why I say if your first application is not is not perfect, we always have the reiteration with us and 12 working days to adjust. Yeah, well, I heard it over and over again, and after 16 years in this job, it's so hard for people to tell me what they're trying to achieve. Not how and whatever, what. Measurable what. What would you like to achieve in 36 months from now, which we can discuss measurable? And of course, we have to see, is this really innovation, whatever. Please always think, what would I like to achieve? 2 meters and 3 in the high jump for women. Not how many steps and whatever and your training thing, 2 meters and 3. Of course, it has to be risked, because else it would not be compliant to GBER. And yes, especially in Flanders, we're a little bit harsh. We say, well, if we fund you, if this is a technical success, if the market hasn't changed, which might happen as well, and I mean is out of your control, we really like to see a business case that brings us back employment or industrial investments that are at least 10 times the funding you're requesting for, at least. That's one of those other hurdles. And we have this kind of company that comes 3 or 4 or 5 times a year. Well, at that moment, we will just make the cumulative thing. Does it still fit? And we look about for 5 years back. I think it's an honest kind of way of spending public money. Okay. That's the one I always like. Say, well, contact us. And if Belgium is too complicated for you, contact me. I will see you to the proper people. Rather Wallonia, rather Brussels, rather inside our own agency. So for whatever help. So I'm this kind of office, people know me for that. And if there's anyone in the room that says I ever let you down on this one, okay. And then the last one, my deep pockets, well, they have become even slightly deeper because people have started questioning, oh, the CHIPS Act is there. The CHIPS Joint Undertaking is there. Is this going to decrease my ability for a Eureka project? Well, if I really look at it, when on European level we had the idea of spending 1.8 billion euro in the KDT. Now that has been reduced to 1.3. So somewhere there should be a 500 million euro extra for Eureka. I hope so for you. And if I take the CHIPS Act and if there's going to be pilot lines and RD&I programs and whatever, if you can capitalize on that one, we will certainly help you further on, whether it's Eureka or whatever. CHIPS Act is not a closed thing. CHIPS Act is just an enabler for any other new projects. And spread the message, especially from Flanders. My pockets can be even deeper due to the CHIPS Act. Thank you.